Good morning. Imagine that one day that customers become best friends. And I probably think it's one of my naive dreams, that customers actually, or that companies actually see customers as potential friends and not just as a dollar bill or as bottom line or as a pain in the ass. And the problem is, the problem is that I'm a marketeer, and marketeers are often seen like the dark side of the world these days. So I would like to change that. And I want to introduce you to two people, and it's my dad and his best friend. That's my dad on the left and his best friend on the right, Adrian. And the cool thing is that their relationship started as a client-supplier kind of relationship. And they have been best friends now for more than 30 years. They have a number of field trips together that they did. They went on holidays. They had way too many Belgian beers together. But it started as a client-supplier kind of relationship. It all started 32 years ago when my parents were building their house, and they were looking for an electrician, and they didn't know anybody, so they had a pitch, and they invited a few people. And Adrian was one of those people, and they had a good fit with him, so they decided to hire him, and he did all the electrician work in my parents' house. And now they're best friends. So I like to dream of a situation where that small thing could happen in a large scale. But the problem is, when I talk to management gurus or academics or researchers about this dream, they all think that I'm insane because they're saying that I'm ignoring the facts. Because the facts are pretty hard. You know that customer loyalty is decreasing rapidly. We used to have that 80-20 rule, the rule that says that 20% of your most loyal clients bring in 80% of the money. So it's pretty easy to do business. You just have to focus on that 20% loyal clients and the money will follow. But that rule doesn't exist anymore. In fact, if you look at statistics, that rule is evolving towards 60-40 and even 50-50 today, which means that 50% of your money still comes from loyal clients, but 50% of the money comes from infrequent and disloyal clients. And new marketing gurus and books tell us that we should focus on the disloyal clients because that's where we find growth as loyalty is decreasing. And those facts, the bad news is that the facts are true, and for me it's very difficult to accept that. And it's very difficult to accept that you should focus on disloyal people. And at a certain moment I was thinking, why is customer loyalty decreasing? Just think about it. Are you surprised that customer loyalty decreased over the last few years? To be honest, I'm not surprised at all. Because if you look at how companies have been treating their clients, it's not always that great, And the focus has been on acquiring new clients all the time, and promotions for new clients, and special deals for new clients. In fact, as a loyal client, you paid way too much for many years. So, you know the expression, right? When your eyes are focusing on your existing clients, your ass is focusing on or if your eyes are focusing on your new clients, your ass is facing your loyal clients, which creates a strange situation sometimes and awkward things. And I understand it, but that's the reason why loyalty is decreasing, of course. And then suddenly, marketeers had the solution. They said, we're going to invent loyalty programs. You all probably have these kind of cards with you or at home. Loyalty programs. We're going to buy loyalty back. We're going to give them a card, and then customers are going to become loyal. But for me, the truth about loyalty programs is that these cards have nothing to do with loyalty. This is a discount card. I use it not because I'm loyal to this company, but because it gives me a discount. And I have loads of these cards. I don't even know from which companies I own cards, but I use them because it saves me money, not because I'm loyal to them. And the problem is that companies don't get it. And to find the answer on the question, can clients become friends of companies, maybe we need to turn it around for a second. Just imagine that your best friend becomes your client. What would you do if your best friend becomes your client? And I think the answer is very simple. We would try harder. We would do whatever we can to please that client because it becomes personal, and it's because it's our personal reputation that is on stake. I heard a guy yesterday, and he said, Steven, we get so many stupid complaints from clients, I don't have time for that. So I don't answer them. But I asked him, what would you do if your neighbor asked you? Difficult answer, because it becomes personal. So the question is, how can we define friendship and see that in a business relationship. And you could say, okay, friendship is about surprising each other. It's about sharing secrets with each other. It's about having fun together. And if you tell that to a marketeer, he smiles. He thinks that's great, that's easy. We can hire an agency for that. We can hire an agency to organize an event, to have some fun. We can hire a creative group to create some stories and secrets for our clients. It's easy. But of course, you feel that friendship is more than just that. You don't have a shortcut to earn friendship. And for me, friendship is even more. It's about building great memories together. But it's also about doing something for your friends without expecting anything in return. And that becomes hard for companies, That becomes difficult to do something for a client without expecting anything in return. And I think the secret is what I call doing business with the heart, less with the brain. And I just want to share one small example to show what I mean. Imagine an insurance company. Imagine an insurance company, and one of their clients has the bad news that their house burned down. As an insurance company, there are two ways to react to that. You can say, it's terrible. It's going to cost us a lot of money. And we have to make sure that it doesn't influence our bottom line as much as possible, so we're going to give that client the minimum that he has a right to. That's one scenario. The other scenario is that you say, this is terrible. These people lost their home, the memories that are in that home, and everything that goes along with it. It's a disaster. We're going to do whatever we can to help these people. Luckily, we only have 10 clients a year that have such a disaster. So for us, those are symbols. We're going to give those people the money that they have the right to make sure that they can build a new house, but we're going to support them mentally. We're going to help them with other stuff to make sure that they have a new house as soon as possible. There are two scenarios. One is doing business with the brain and looking at the bottom line. The other one is doing business with the heart and helping out people and doing the right thing. And the problem is, if you tell that to a business leader, they often think that scenario A costs them or brings money, and scenario 2 costs them money. I think it's the opposite of that situation. I think if you do the right thing, and if you really do business with the heart, you will have the most loyal clients in the world. They will never forget what you have done, even for an insurance company, can you imagine? And they will tell the world. They will bring in new clients. And I have the feeling, I strongly believe, that that will bring in more money than if you try to screw them. But still, it seems so hard to do business with the heart. And I want to take it one step further and bring these two guys back to us, my dad and Adrian. Because doing business with the heart is one thing to earn the friendship, but I think there's more to that. If we go back to the early days of my dad and Adrian when they became friends, it was 32 years ago when my parents were building that house. And I think the secret was that my dad, during the weekends, he helped Adrian out. So on Saturdays and Sundays, they were working together on building the electricity for our house. That was the moment that they shared their first duvel together. And many followed, as I said. That was the moment when they made their first plan to go on a field trip or to go to a restaurant together. And they had their project that they did together, and it created an emotional bond. And that emotional bond was what led to friendship 30 years later and over the time of those 30 years. So I think as a company, if you want to become friends with your customers, step 1 is doing business with the heart, but step 2 is doing as much as you can together with them, building great memories, letting them feel like they belong to your company. Maybe the best example of companies that are doing things together with their clients are soccer teams. Maybe soccer fans. If you think about the category with customer loyalty, the soccer industry is probably leading the world. I've never met a fan of Ajax that changed to Feyenoord, for instance. I don't think they exist. If they do, they have been killed in the meanwhile. So you don't do that. You never switch soccer teams. You're very loyal to them. Think of Bayern Munich. Half of the team is owned by the fans. They say, we are the team. And they feel like they have an influence on it by cheering for the fans, by supporting them. They think we are doing this together. And I think that's the secret ingredient to move from being liked by doing business with the heart, which you need, towards creating friendship by evolving people and involving people in as much as you can, even in your day-to-day activities. Let them be part of the company, and they will love you for it. So to summarize it, can customers become friends of companies? I think the answer is yes. And I even think it goes further. I think companies, if they want to survive and don't become a commodity, they need to think about how can they change the relationship with their clients into a friendship kind of relationship, because that's the moment when customer loyalty comes back. And the truth is, I even think it's not that hard. I think we can summarize it maybe in one sentence, and it's the one thing that I would like you to think about from my talk when you go home or when you rewatch it, and maybe something that you can do with next week. It's a very simple sentence, but if all of us would do a little bit more business with the heart and a little less with the brain, I think marketeers wouldn't be the dark side of the world anymore. Thank you very much.